Hey, Katie.
Hi, this is Katie Kroll from Looper.com. How are you, Harrison?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm a huge fan, so it's a real honor to speak with you.
Thank you.
My question for you is, the bulk of your work has been in film, obviously, with this being your first starring role on a television series. What made you want to do the crossover from film to TV? And how did filming 1923 compare to working on past films of yours, particularly the blockbuster Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchises?
Well, that's a big question. Uh, there's not much difference between, for me, for an actor, there's not much difference between shooting for television and shooting for a feature film. There may be actually more time to develop a character over a number of different episodes than you have in a 2-hour film. But it really is the only difference really these days, I believe. We used to think of television as having less ambition, perhaps, than feature films. It's no longer the case at all. This is one of the most ambitious undertakings I've ever taken on, and I'm so pleased with the what I've seen so far, because we're in post-production on much of it, but we have the first couple of episodes locked, and I'm delighted by what I see. I've been enjoying working with very high quality actors and actresses, and we have the technical capacity and ambition to shoot this the way it was a feature film. It's quite beautiful to look at. I'm thrilled with the whole project. And as to how it compares with Star Wars or Indiana Jones, we're spending a lot more time outdoors in real places rather than on sets that have to be manufactured to create a reality. So there's a sense of reality there. The minute you walk out into that cold in your 1923 costume, you begin to understand what the real life of a cowboy is like.
Thank you.
You bet.
And Paul, please.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, we're so happy to have you with us today, like honored. And you always just had such fantastic performances, so focused, and what is it that you keep in mind that keeps you on the right path to giving it your best, especially in the elements and everything else that could go wrong?
Well, I mean, I want to serve the character and have the character serve the story. I'm looking to alloy the character with the story because they support each other. And Taylor Sheridan has written a dense and complicated character, and it's both an honor and a challenge to take it on, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Thank you so much.
Wilson, go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Ford. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Having joined the series as part of a franchise, have you had a chance to catch up on any of the previous shows, whether it's 1883 or Yellowstone?
Yeah, I wanted to I've been working and busy, and I haven't had a lot of time to catch up. But I thought that I thought it more important that I see all of 1883, which I did, because that is the closest in time and story-wise of the developed Yellowstone elements. Yellowstone, which takes place in contemporary time. I love the work that Kevin's doing, and I love the show, but 1883 was more important to me to concentrate on. And it was very useful in helping me understand the way they have been storytelling.
Appreciate it.
Not all. Thank you.
Nick?
Come on, Nick.
Nick with Cinema One, here. Give him 1, 2, 3. All right, Carly, go ahead.
Hi, Carly Lane from Collider.
Hi.
This is sort of to piggyback off of Katie's initial question, but I'm curious what drew you to this particular project in terms of knowing you wanted to be involved. I'm wondering when that moment came. Was it being pitched on the show? Was it reading that script from Taylor? Like, when did you have the moment of, this is the project, this one?
I based my decision on personal meetings with Taylor. There was no script at the time we agreed. One of the real draws for me was the opportunity to work with Helen again, to play my wife, Helen Mirren, who was the first one aboard. So when Taylor and I met, and it probably preceded the script by at least 3 or 4 weeks, and so he talked me through what his ideas were, and I was impressed by his articulation of his ambition and his sincerity. And when I got the script, I was very gratified. I think it's very interesting. It's ambitious again, but it's a character very different to any that I've played so far, and that interests me. I'm always interested in working with new things, and it doesn't seem to me that there's a terrible amount of difference between movies and an ambitious television project anymore.
Thank you.
You bet.
EL, go ahead.
Hi, I'm EL. I write for Comic Book Resources. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Thank you.
So you mentioned working with Helen Mirren. I'm curious what it was like developing your on-screen relationship with her for this.
Well, we have known each other, although we haven't spent much time together in the last 40 years. She played my wife in Mosquito Coast. So, but of course I know her career, and I have seen her work over these years, and we've occasionally come in contact. She's a very nice person and a very smart actress, and it was one of the big draws, the chance to work with Helen again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Larry, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Ford. It's a true honor
Hey.
to speak with you.
Thank
I'm
you.
Larry Fink with Fox News Digital.
Okay.
What would you say is the secret to your long and incredible career? And the follow-up to that is, you played so many iconic characters. How does Jacob Dutton compare to the other characters you have played?
What was the first part of the question?
The first question, what would you say is the secret to your long and incredible career?
Other people, working with people who have, who are accomplished in their areas. I mean, the range of directors I've had the opportunity to work with certainly has been extraordinary. I've been very, very lucky, and I came up in the business when the movie business was so closely connected to culture, and we had such an influence on culture. It was really a very good time for the movie business, and some of the giants of the movie business were still working, and I had the opportunity to work with people like Pakula and Sidney Pollack and Peter Weir and many others at a time when movies were flourishing. That might have been enough. But I still enjoy working. I still enjoy telling stories. And Taylor Sheridan is certainly one of those people that is the most extraordinary talents of our current time, and I'm having a really good time doing this.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ford.
Appreciate it.
Karita?
I'm Karita with Metacritic,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know what was it about this
Metacritic.
Metacritic.
That sounds horrible. I was going.
You know what?
Are you mega critical?
No, it's a meta.
Oh, meta. Okay.
Not meg. I can't believe we're wasting time on that.
We are wasting time on that, but I like to waste time. What is your question, please?
I was going to ask, what was it about this character's journey that you were eager to delve into?
Well, it's a fear. It's the character finds himself in very extingent circumstances, difficult circumstances. The pressures of on the ranch, which represents the future for his family. The pressures are intense. They're in the midst of a drought. The depression is nearing, so the economic support is crumbling. Loans are not easy to come by for cattle. There's competition for the grass from sheepmen. There's the pressures on the land itself from extractive industries, and it's a complicated time, and a lot of those complications and pressures come to rest on Jacob Dutton's shoulders, and the way he deals with them is distinct. So Taylor has written me a matrix for a character that is, which I feel very confident in, and feel lucky to have the opportunity to express. Thank you.
John, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Ford. John from Outsider. Just want to say I'm a lifelong fan, and thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you. How very kind.
Absolutely. Well, I'm curious what you think, having watched 1883, is inside Jacob Dutton that allowed him to succeed where his younger brother James, played by Tim McGraw, failed in creating that vast Dutton empire.
I can't conceive of Tim McGraw's character as having failed. I would say that the circumstances overwhelmed him, but it's not a flaw of his character. The same Dutton steel is in Jacob that there was in the character Tim played, but I am the elder brother of him, of he, and the story tells us that that when I actually don't want to go into that. But I was walking down a path I don't think it's fruitful. Forgive me, and can I ask you to ask another question?
Sure,
We'll give,
I can.
please.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Well, what do you've mentioned so many of the roles that you've played over your long career. What sets Jacob Dutton apart from those roles?
He's Jacob Dutton.
Nailed it.
And it's as, it's a concrete character that I find realistic and intriguing to give expression to. Best I got, man.
Sterling, go ahead.
Hi, Harrison. It's Sterling Whitaker with Taste Your Country. Thanks for being with us today.
Pleasure, sir.
Thank you. My question is more of an acting question in terms of creating the character of Jacob. What was your prep work like once you had the script in hand, and what's the most important part of creating the character?
I'm sorry, what was when I had the script in hand?
What's the most important part of creating the character? Where do you take it from there?
Well, I mean, there are many important aspects of the creation of a character. The first one that comes to you when you've agreed to play a character is the physical expression of his characteristics, the costume. And once I find the costume, I'm part of the way to finding the man. And it was helped in the selection of costume by very talented people. And so there's first costume, so it's the look of the character. And then the way the character is written, I began to see that that Taylor had created an architecture that I once I recognized the architecture of things, I could see that the story was built on hinge moments in the character's life, and that since I know which way the hinge was turning and where we were going, I was seeing that a lot of the development was being done for me by Taylor, the usual work of an actor trying to have to phrase himself through a story was nailed down tight. And that really, to be honest, I could just be there and be real in that circumstance as much as possible, and it would do the job. And performance is not so much, it's not a context in which performance per se is very valuable. Cowboys are resolute and they're stern and they're tough. And we know that about cowboys. But Taylor has given me opportunity to express it in contexts that we don't see very often, and it's so well written. I really the challenge is living up to the character, and
Thank you very much.
and I've enjoyed very much that process working with Taylor. Thank you.
That's great.
And lastly, we'll finish up with Gregory, please.
How you doing, Harrison?
Good.
So you said about Taylor's writing, but I'd love to kind of hear you talk about what makes it so unique and kind of what he's able to explore with the series, what he's able to explore about America and the Western through the series.
Well, I think he puts the mythology, the cowboy myth and American history, under the tension of truth. There's a lot of, there's a degree of distance between what America represents itself as and how it behaves. And while we may be ambitious for the representation, we're living in the reality. And Jacob Dutton has hard choices to make. And he makes those hard choices like an animal with his back against the wall. It's very interesting to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us. That's all the time we have.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.